Hey. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Let's go ahead and start just by introducing yourself.
Okay. My name is Jillian Schmitz. Do you want professions and
What do you
occupations and
do?
hobbies?
Yeah, exactly. What's your life in this Hollywood world?
I know. I'll try to condense it. I'm a dancer, a producer, a dance teacher, a recovery advocate, and a therapy advocate. I'm not a therapist, but I'm big into therapy. I almost wore my go to therapy shirt, but I thought that might be too much.
Never.
And what else? Recovery advocate, sometimes writer, although I would say I'm a bit more of like an amateur writer, although I have done some writing out in the world. And newly mother-ish, like year and 4 months.
Oh my God.
That's like a new identity of mine that I'm not quite comfortable with yet, because I guess some people become mothers and they're like, I'm a mother, and I'm like, oh right, I'm a mother, I do have a child, like that makes me a mother by default.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm having a hard time like making that identity. I think it's because I'm older and I have like so many other identities that I already kind of embrace. But anyway,
did you have the baby like from your own body, or did you? Really, I never would have guessed.
Yes, like I'm not quite back to where I was pre-prego. I'm working on that last little bit, because as performers, we're like very meticulous about how we want to be presented, and so costumes fit and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a wild ride, but So.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I love, one of the things I do love talking about on here is, being a mom in this world also. And I had no clue you were a mom.
Yeah. I mean, it's being a woman in this world, the whole thing. And then, being a mom and figuring it out and seeing how that goes. But yeah,
that's, I was going to say, I feel like it's a huge undertaking, but I've also seen quite a few women do it really well. And the number one thing that I've seen from women in this industry who are moms is that it hasn't stopped their life.
Yeah.
If anything, I think we had one girl on who has 2 kids, and she was provider also because the dad wasn't really doing a whole lot. And she said it actually helped her career because she had something to work for. So her income went way up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
My experience so far, this is going to be super blunt. My experience so far in being a mother is that, and I don't know how it is in other countries, so I can only say for America.
Fair, yeah.
But it seems like, well, here, let me preface it with something. So I think that women who are in professions that are highly self-reliant, so like being an independent contractor, being self-employed, being a gig worker, where you're kind of your own business, right? So you're working for a lot of different people. You have a lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets. Artists, all these types of people, athletes, we're athletic artists, right? So all of that stuff kind of primes you for a hyper-independent lifestyle.
Yeah.
But that actually, to me, I think is a massive benefit for being a caretaker and a mother.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like nobody knows how to pack a suitcase like a performer.
True.
And all you're doing every day is packing shit for another human being and yourself and like keeping it all together. And so there's a lot of transferable skills. I feel like being like an independent, like artist, working person, professional, entertainer, like there are a lot of transferable skills that I think carry over to making people really great caretakers, mothers, whatever.
Interesting.
So that is a separate thought. Okay. Going back to, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in here in America, it feels like, this is gonna be super blunt, America really hates mothers. Like really fucking hates them.
I think you're very right.
Like celebrates them, puts them on pedestals of like, this is your duty. This is the greatest thing you could do. It's the hardest job in the world. You could do it, but we will not pay you to do it. And we will not, give you leave. And we will not, and we could talk about another thing about leave, parental leave, whatever. But we will not give you the tools to be successful, but we're going to like love bomb you about it. And you know, we're not even really going to give you changing tables and bathrooms.
Yeah.
But you're a mother. That's the best thing ever. Yay,
yes.
you. And we're not going to help you out with recovery care, like any kind of like, you know, food, anything. No, we're not going to help with any of that.
Yeah.
But like, yay, you, we want you to have kids.
Yeah.
And yay, mother, that's the best thing you can be. So there's a lot of gaslighting, I feel like, in America. It really can't decide how it wants to treat mothers.
For sure.
And so that's been my observation. And I feel like I saw that a little bit pre having a kid, but then of course, like trying to find the places that have the changing table or the situation or the things, and watching how comfortable America is saying having a child is like your destiny, but at the same time, they're not welcome in public spaces.
Yeah.
Like I've heard in other countries, like I've been to many other countries, but I wasn't there with the eye of looking at like how
it's a mother.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With that specific eye. So, or experience. So, but it does seem like in America, children are not welcome in communal spaces as much. And I have to say, like, I don't even know if I disagree with that, because I have been a non-child person for a very long time.
Yeah.
Been on the flights, been on the things, doing the things where someone's kid is losing their shit, you know, like, like puppy.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, like, but you know, like, I do feel like in some cases too, like pets and kids, like communal spaces, like they're allowed in different states, in different countries, in different levels of the community. So that's been an interesting observation so far with America. Like the parental leave part of that is the reason why there isn't more parental leave. Like despite our country being quite capitalistic, unregulated capitalism, but there, and you gave me a nice, like, don't talk politics, which I also like agree on my podcast, like don't talk politics, but I will talk policy. And so one of the policies that was enacted a long time ago is there's a lot of lobbying by formula companies to not have this extended leave for mothers or caretakers, because it would boost their profits for women not to be able to breastfeed and to use formula.
Interesting.
So one of the reasons why a lot of America doesn't have these extended leave policies is because they were lobbied against it, so that these companies could make more money. Okay. So the formula companies won that lobbying and kind of continue to, although there's been like, I think more of a recent societal push to really like have more leave for mothers, you know, paid leave. And like as performers, that's a crapshoot for us, depending on if we have an employer that'll pay that or not, or what our situation is. So yeah, that's been some of my observations.
Interesting. Yeah, so interesting, but makes a lot. I mean, I know I'm guilty of it. Like we have kids down at the pool sometimes.
And you're like, get these kids out of the pool. Like, they're loud and obnoxious.
So annoying. But when you hear screaming all day on a Saturday, and for us, we work on weekend nights, it's like.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And I'm still there. I'm like, I don't enjoy the screaming.
It's rough.
I really don't. I'm a person who has very sensitive senses.
Oh no.
And so,
I don't. I can usually block things out, and I cannot. I don't know. Maybe that's also me just getting older, but
get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm that person, like, get off my lawn, be quiet, it's too loud.
But you know, you said something really interesting about how mothers, you know, are put on this pedestal and stuff. And it's interesting because we've talked on here how something that I've noticed. So I've been in the OnlyFans space, and not my favorite space, but also thankful for it.
Right.
And I've kind of observed a lot in that world. And, you know, I've never done porn, but I've been around porn stars. And what's really fascinating to me is that it's the same thing where they are, especially during quarantine, I think, they were heavily revered. But then they were at the same time still talked down on and not treated as human. But then that's like two very different extremes, motherhood and porn star. But then if you really look at it, I kind of almost feel like it's the extremes of just how women are treated in general.
Yeah. Well, what are those two things have in common? Because we're not talking down to male porn stars. True. They're only celebrated.
Very true.
They're only celebrated. They're only studs. They're only the top of the top, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about female porn stars, and we're talking about mothers.
Yes.
Or people who are, you know, female identifying with children, whatever, like those two things are women.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's
it's just it's the extremes
commonality
of showing just the very simple thing that and being a woman is revered. Men love women. Men have posters of women. Men like all women's photos on Instagram, you know. But then when it comes down to it, the way we're treated is not always. Sometimes it doesn't always feel like we're treated like humans, you know. Like, we had this really interesting point. I was actually going to bring this on a different episode, but I kind of want to pull it up now. We had 2 episodes. One was with a burlesque dancer. She's married. She's been in the industry for a while. Sarah Wines a lot. Okay.
I don't think I know her, but if I saw a photo, I might also be like, oh, I know her.
Very possible. Yeah.
It's a very small world.
Yeah. But she was saying how, I was saying how I love a traditional relationship, how I love like a strong man, a man who will provide and protect and like take care of me. And I love kind of taking on the feminine role of a nurturer. And she looked at me so surprised because I'm pretty well known for being a go-getter and an independent woman. And she was like, what? You know? And she was like, be strong and empowered while being an equal to a man and being a partner to a man. And like, I think, you know, I'm a believer that a man should be the head of the household. And I love a man that will lead. I love a man that will guide. I love a man, though, that makes me respect him into wanting to follow him. Whereas like, and that being, he listens to what I say too. You know, I was saying how I love a traditional relationship, how I love like a strong man, a man who will provide and protect and like take care of me. And I love kind of taking on the feminine role of a nurturer. And she looked at me so surprised because I'm pretty well known for being a go-getter and an independent woman. And she was like, what? You know? And she was like, you want a man to lead? And I was like, I mean, I like a man to, I want a man stronger than me. I don't want to be like the masculine. Like, you know, I think a woman's job is to kind of help direct the man, but the man, I like to be the rock, you know? And I think when those roles get confused, I think it is hard on a relationship, at least a male-woman relationship. And then the following episode, we had a man on and he was saying how, you know, he feels a man should be strong. He should be a provider, protector. And he made this comment, and I don't know if he meant to say it this way.
We're just built differently, you know? It's like a man can handle the whole 9-to-5 job, the stresses of like having to like make money for the household or provide and whatnot. Women, it's like your natural cycles are just not built for that. You know, it's not conducive. And I think it's very unfair that we've subjected y'all to like a man's world, essentially. You know,
but he said men and women are not equal. I was like, okay, well, hang on 1 second, you know, but I think he meant to say they're not the same because our bodies are built differently. So I think it's kind of a fascinating time, especially with all, you know, we have like we see it a lot in LA, at least there's now several different genders coming out. And, you know, there are a lot of strong women out here in Hollywood. And there are a lot of weak men. And I think there's a real lack and loss of identity of like what gender roles are, which, you know, this podcast isn't to say this is what they are. It's to say, let's explore and like ask these questions of, you know, what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman in relation to each other and separately. So anyways, you know, I think it's interesting to see. I'd love to hear your opinion too on how you kind of view, and are you single mother? Are you married?
I have a domestic partner.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been together for 17 years.
That's right. I remember you saying
that.
So
he is a man. So sometimes when people say domestic partner, they think I might be in a same-sex relationship. I'm not. I just do like to say like I have a partner or a domestic partner because I like to, I don't know. I'd like to embrace the ambiguity of what that could be for the community, the LGBTQIA community, like just to make that more of a norm amongst even straight people that might say that they have a partner, like, or whatever. I never wanted to get married. And I find that like, I can still claim single on my taxes, but I have a partnership so that legally I filed with the state. So like we have those safeties for like, you know, because common law actually isn't a thing in California. People think it is, but it's not. So if you want to be common law, you should go ahead and be like file with the state as a domestic partnership. You don't have to get married. You don't have to do that stuff. Although
if you come with you into the hospital.
Oh yes.
Okay.
And also like when my dad was dying in the hospital, like nobody questioned me and I was ordering drugs for him.
Wow.
I was with my mom and my brother, but nobody was like, can I see your ID? Like, how do you know this man? I was like, this is what we need. Do we have the morphine? Like, let's go. And like nobody questioned anything. So of course, like I wasn't making like pull the plug type decisions. So I think that's when things get really gnarly is like, you have to be like, almost like that person's directive. You have to know their directive.
Okay.
So anyways, but so I do have a partner. I would say I don't know if we would do traditional gender roles. Some things are fairly traditional, but things are very worked out in our relationship. Like I cook these many nights a week. You cook this many nights a week. I do a majority of it because I'm a little bit more of a better cook or more seasoned cook. And
for sure,
I do enjoy it for the most part. And, you know, like he does the vacuums of the floors and I do the laundry and like, you know, there's very specific task oriented things. Depending on the year is who's the breadwinner, and that shifts and changes because we're both in entertainment and you know, so it's like hard to say who's going to be the breadwinner of any given year. My kid's name is hyphenated. It's both of our last names because I was not willing to give up my last name.
Okay.
So she's hyphenated, poor thing. She can maybe choose when she's older if she wants to keep one or drop the other. But I'm like, girl, you got both for now.
Yeah.
Long ass last name. But because that was important to me as a female.
For sure.
And to have a female. So you said a lot of interesting things. So you talked about that you like traditional gender roles. So I don't find that surprising, only because I think people can be very abstract. And I think you can be a feminist and want to do traditional gender roles.
Yeah,
right? So
definitely.
That's a gray area for people, right? Because everything is very black and white. Like it has to be, it has to line up exactly how they think it has to line up. Like, oh, for you to be a feminist, you have to be a man hater. For you to be a feminist and want equality, you have to be the strong person in a relationship and take charge and have, you know, like this emasculated man by your side.
Yeah.
And that's not true, right? Like all things can be true and all things can happen. I think also there's a lot of, like you pointed out, a lot of ambiguity in gender specificity and identity right now, especially in performance spaces and in media and social circles. There's a lot of ambiguity with gender and all of that stuff. And I think it is interesting that it's making people have to kind of really dig out what that is and figure it out. And it's causing a lot of people, you know, I think any pushback that people get is because people are confused. Yeah. Or that makes them have to change how they see things, or they have to change how they address someone, or they have to change how their automatic, you know, default, which, you know, it's hard to change. And that's if you want to. Yeah. So that's just a growing pain of what's going on. But one thing that I really want to highlight is when we're talking about gender roles is that the narrow appropriateness of what those gender roles are. And I think that's what people like you and people like me are fighting for and have a problem with. And what I think men should also have a problem with. Yeah. So there is a very narrow idea of what being a man is, right? That's true. And this is, so you have to be strong. You have to be a breadwinner. You have to do this. You have to do that. And it's like, but you can't but then in that narrowness is like, you can't have emotionality that is intelligent. Yeah. So there's emotionality, right? Rage. Yes. Yeah. You know, intimidation, you know, all of that is fine. Yeah. For emotionality, but you know, having empathy, not so much. Vulnerability, definitely not. Like, you know, being able and not like, you know, I think there's a certain disgust that people have when they see a man expressing himself with vulnerability. Yeah. But I think it's because people aren't used to it. Yeah. B, aren't used to how intelligent that can be. Like, I think because men's emotional intelligence hasn't been cared for, and there's a lot of women's emotional intelligence that hasn't been cared for. This is a newer thing that is now like, you know, being
even like
therapized
therapy and counseling was like the devil back in my parents' time.
You're a quack, a head shrinker, like there's something wrong with you, right? And that is changing and has changed a lot. And so emotional intelligence is like a newer term, you know, to be able to acknowledge your emotions, work through them, figure them out without shooting up a school, without, you know, going homicidal, without choking someone out, without, you know, drinking your weight in, you know, whatever, or without, you know, like all these other coping mechanisms, and being able to metabolize those emotions in a healthy way. And patriarchy says that that's not cool for dudes. Yeah. That's just not a thing.
Yeah. It's true.
And so, and patriarchy says that for women, you know, strong is not relevant or needed, that you are lesser than men, that your jobs are very specific. They are below men and they are to serve men.
And that this has been a big topic amongst my friends lately, that women are crazy, you know, like when we're on our period, we're crazy, which is crazy to me that this is the norm. We have our period once a month. It changes our hormones. It changes our bodies. We're bleeding a lot. Why is that crazy? This should be normal. This has been happening forever.
Yeah. Well, it's a campaign. Yeah. It's a campaign to, you know, to diminish any kind of credibility to women, right?
Yeah.
To basically render them insubordinate or insufficient or unable to lead, right? Meanwhile, one of the side effects of high levels of testosterone is rage, is craziness, right? But that is discounted. You know, it's not. And in some of our hormonal cycles, when we may be the most insane is usually when the testosterone is highest.
My friend told me this recently, and she was like, so men are just always crazy. And women, when we are just at their level, now we're crazy. Because usually we're supposed to always be soft. You know?
Well, and that's the oppression, right? And then that comes out somewhere, right? And, you know, so...
Sorry,
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's, but I think it's a campaign to keep women down. And there's a lot of these campaigns. Right? A lot of them. There's a lot of religious ones. There's a lot of political ones. There's a lot of just everyday ones. I think that sexism is so inherent to our country that it is almost, it's so... It's almost like it's so pervasive that it's almost invisible.
Yeah.
I mean, people can look at things and be like, that's racist. That's racist. Or be like, that's racist. And some say, no, it's not. And it's like, I'll tell you why it is. Whereas sexism is so a part of the culture that it's really hard to call out. And it's really hard to get anyone to, not anyone, but it's really hard sometimes to get people to be willing to see that something's sexist.
Definitely.
And not only see it, accept it, agree, and change the behavior.
The change is the hardest part.
It's not happening. And so I'm not sure what the catalyst will be. I think actually some of the ambiguity and the gender fluidness is our way onto like a matriarchy.
Okay.
Like we were talking in the dressing room about, I said, you know, like, patriarchy is what we're in right now, which I had said you can't separate from white supremacy, which you can't separate from capitalism, our type of capitalism, which is unregulated capitalism.
Very true.
There are other countries that are much like us that have regulated capitalism. So they have regulations on what they're allowed to do with capitalism. And, you know, people in this country are very afraid of socialism. And I understand that, like they might be afraid of socialism because of other countries, but there are other countries that are doing very well that have democratic socialism. And those are two different things, right? Capitalism and unregulated capitalism, you know, regulated and unregulated capitalism are one thing. And, you know, democratic socialists and socialists are two different things as well. And people get afraid of that. But nonetheless, so patriarchy can't really be separated from any of those things, white supremacy, capitalism in our country right now. And I think that people, when they hear about equality or they hear about ushering in a matriarchy, they're like, oh no, fuck that. We're going to be punished like we've been punishing them. Right. It's like, oh God, they're gonna, like, if women are in charge, they're gonna do all the things that we've been doing to them. Now, whether you're conscious of that or not, that's the feeling, right? But matriarchy wouldn't be a patriarchy. So it's not about who's at the top and who's going to oppress down and push down to be in power. Matriarchy is about community. Matriarchy is about communal. It is not about capitalism. It's about sharing of goods and services. It is not about pushing down. It's about giving everybody an opportunity to shine and be, you know, like equity, not even equality, equity, giving everybody things they need to be successful. And it's not individualistic. And that's what I think a lot of our issues are in America, is everyone is an individualist, right? I have to get my own, I have to do my thing. I can't count on anybody else, and I got to get mine. I got to get my nut. I got to do my thing, and I got to think. And that is very much on course policy-wise with the privatization of things. So no, we don't want a postal service. We need to get rid of it. It's terrible. Let's privatize it. So now Amazon and FedEx and UPS, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, to get people to think that that is better. So that these companies, again, unregulated capitalism, can succeed. Where it's like, okay, UPS or USPS Postal Service may not be your favorite. Maybe it takes too long. Maybe it's but you know that the prices are going to be decent. You know, they're going to be regulated, and you know that you can count on it as a thing, right? So, and it's not there to make money. It's there to serve the public. So, you know, all of these things to me are interwoven. And I'm hoping that some of the gender ambiguity is actually a stepladder, on our way to more of a matriarchal society. I also would really love some regulated capitalism. Some regulations I think could really do us well. I don't think we need to get rid of capitalism, but I think if we had some regulations, I think that would really help out.
Definitely. Oh my God, you said so many things. I have several different.
I feel like I should have taken notes.
I know. I was like, oh my God, Alyssa, don't forget. But yeah, no, that was so much good information that came out so concise and on point and all flowed, even though it was so many different things. I wanted to go back to one thing. Actually, I kind of almost want to umbrella everything of what I'm about to say that I'm going to throw back at you is, you know, men's role in society, especially should we have a matriarchy. But I wanted to go back first to, you know, we were talking about, you know, how men do have feelings, and the number one they're allowed to express is rage. So I used to be married. I think that were I to get married again, I would want to do a domestic partnership. I don't know that I would ever like legally do like sign in the government kind of a deal. But my ex-husband was an ex-felon, and he had been in San Quentin State Prison. And one time when we were together, I think when we were engaged, a documentary came out about San Quentin State Prison, and all of his friends were in it, which was a very weird experience for you. Very odd, kind of wild. But the documentary was about how men are not allowed to express their feelings, and this is what happens. When you're shoved down and told you can only feel rage, then you're only going to feel rage, and you're going to do things that is going to be pretty bad and dangerous to society. And it's not good, you know, and, you know, that was not good. And being married to somebody like that, come to find like, wow, you really do not know how to handle your emotions. And obviously I'm divorced. But, you know, that's something that I really value about my partner now. He's a fighter, you know, does boxing and all of that. And he made a comment that was really, it was everything to me. He said, the thing about knowing that you're dangerous is that you know how much damage you can cause. So you have to know how to control it. And that was one of the most like key things, you know, that he had said that made me feel safe, actually. And, you know, and he's a really tough guy, but, you know, he's not somebody that, I wouldn't say he's like emotional, but like he has emotion, you know, and I think it's really important for men to have emotion. And it's something that is heavily overlooked. And I think that's why, as women are kind of rising up, it's like men don't know how to process it because they don't, they've been told they can only have rage. So, now what do they do, and, big reason why I started this is because throughout my 20s, I lived a very wild life, like very wild, not something I ever want to go back to. But I saw a lot, and, I was a virgin till I got married. So I had all my promiscuity after my marriage in my 20s when you don't have parents or school or rules. So you just go crazy. But something that I'd seen a lot is that, there was this like hoe culture where like, men fucked around and women got sick of it. So women will fuck around. And then it just created this cycle of people hurting each other and just people just kind of lawlessly having sex everywhere and not giving a fuck. And that was not good. And I think, you see men do get hurt also, and then they get, women got hurt. Now men are getting hurt. And I think it kind of ties into how you're saying, like, this fear men have of like, if women take over, we're going to come back at them and do what they did to us. But I think like, you're a mom, and like, I think we see as women, especially when we're older and more mature, not in our 20s, we naturally instinctively have that caregiver thing that does make us communal. It's like, as a mom, you're packing for your kid constantly. You're taking care of your partner. You just naturally think like, oh, I'm making food. Let me go give some to my man, Whereas I think men, they kind of have to think a little bit harder about like, oh, I'm grabbing food. Does she want some too? Some are good at it. Some, I think it's a little bit less instinctive for them. Whereas women, we naturally think, does everybody have what they need? And that's been historically just how women's brains work, which is why we naturally take on the role of a nurturer. Even if, like, for me, even being like a strong, independent working woman, I still will naturally always think, is everybody good? Does everybody have what they need? Like, and I think that's very natural for us, which is why I think, a matriarchy could be a really beautiful thing. But all of that to say, should a matriarchy happen, what do you see? Like, I love what you said about the equality between you and your partner. And I think, I know for me, as much as I love traditional roles, I tend to take on the masculine role because I am such a go-getter, but I want to be in the feminine role. But I think the happy balance really is when you kind of even it out. How do you see in a matriarchy, what should be a man's role? And like, how do they kind of,
I think a matriarchy, and I haven't done a deep dive in like, I haven't read several books on like matriarchy and like, what I'm saying? Like, I could probably do some more research on what that actually like looks like in certain tribes that actually have them. There are tribes, there are probably not a lot, but there are tribes on earth somewhere that are a matriarchy, right? Like, and I think my partner was actually telling me about one that he had either saw a show about or read something about. And so I don't know exactly, but what I imagine it would probably be is kind of like a very small tribal community in a sense of like, everybody has something to offer, right? Like, so if a man likes to hunt, fight, do those, like what would be traditional, what we call traditional male things, like, there are always going to be people that need to solder shit and fucking work on, oil rigs or that type of shit. I don't want to fucking work on an oil rig. It doesn't mean I don't want equality. It means I don't want to work on an oil rig. But guess what? There's a ton of dudes that don't want to work on an oil rig. And they shouldn't be made to work on an oil rig if they don't fucking want to, right? So maybe one of them wants to fucking be a chef. Great. Now is he like a bitch because he wants to fucking cook food? No. Right? So it's like everybody has what they bring to the party, what makes them helpful. And there are men that want to do traditional male roles. Fine. And there are women too. And if they can fucking hack it, great. I'm not, I hate this like tired trope that sometimes accompanies a conversation about equality for women. That's like, well, should a woman be a firefighter if she can't do the job of a firefighter? No. If she can't do what is required, no. But does every firefighter, like I've seen some fat firefighters, do you think they're fucking running upstairs, or are they the one driving the truck or doing the thing or taking the calls or administering the aid? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, also, it's not that black and white. And like, and maybe someone could correct me and be like, actually, no, everyone has to do a test and they have to fucking, you know, carry a fucking 3-hand bag up and down the stairs. Cool. If she can't hack it, then she can't hack it.
Yeah.
But there are also some men who can't fucking hack it.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's like be real that some jobs just have qualifications. But the fact of the matter is, not letting a woman try is part of the problem. Or saying a blanket statement that a woman can't when there might be a woman who actually fucking can. That's what we're fighting against, right? Is the fucking doors being shoved in our face, the glass ceiling that's already there before we've been able to even try. You know, so it's like, that is the issue. And then on top of the sexism is often the misogyny that accompanies it, which is, it's not, you know, sex and misogyny are two different things. They're used interchangeably a lot, but they mean two separate things. So, you know, it is sexist not to let a woman try to be a firefighter if she wants to be. But the misogyny comes in where they punish her for even wanting to, or punish. So if she was able to do the job and she is a fighter, that they harass her all the time, or they constantly are doing things to push her down, or, you know, docking her pay, doing weird shit like that, you know, and this could be in any profession. It's a way to either by means of, you know, withholding, punishing, harassment. Sometimes it's violent, right? Anytime a man is doing violence on a woman, to me, that is misogynist. It is misogyny, right? Especially choking, that's misogyny. So all of that, you know, is what we're fighting for equality. And, you know, patriarchy hurts men too. Like what we're talking about, emotionally keeping them in a box, keeping them this is all you can do. This is all you should be. You know, that is harmful. And that is patriarchy saying that, you know, and
it almost like makes men not allowed to be human also.
No. And, you know, one of the most fulfilling things being a parent is watching how much my significant other is involved in the parenting, because that was not my situation growing up. Like my dad was present, but he was emotionally absent. Both of my parents worked, but my mom was the primary caretaker. She was the one picking us up, dropping us off. She was the one cooking the meals. She was the one doing the thing, picking the house, covering that, So a lot of us watched that and we were like, that doesn't look like a good deal. Like, so I see, like, I'm going to have a job. He's going to have a job, and I'm going to have the kids, and I'm going to do all the work and all the housework and all the meal and all the kid. Like, how the fuck is this fair? And like, absolutely fucking not. So I didn't have kids child for a very long time, you know, because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do all that. And also just like the whole thing, having a career, all the things, like, you know, all the things, do I really want that for me? But also in my relationship, it's been like a slow education of like pointing out over time and space, gingerly, like, hey, do you see how, you know, I'm the one who always makes the cat vets appointments? Do you see how I'm always the one who's RSVPing to the couple events? Do you see how I'm always the one who got a card or a gift for the things? Do you see how I'm always planning the meals ahead and that I have food in the house? Are you seeing, like, this is the, you know, emotional labor that women do day in and day out, right?
It's true.
They hold the emotional labor. And they're constantly doing all of these unpaid tasks. And there's actually a really, really great documentary that was made, I think, after the book came out. This woman, it's called Fair Play. And it's revolutionary for couples who may be having this issue, or maybe even just want to further kind of test their relationship of what is fair and equal. And she has a couple games that you can do and stuff like that. But it is very much like, it started because I think she felt unfair in her relationship. And I think she asked her female friends to like write a list of all the things they do that their husband doesn't. And she said the spreadsheet was like insane.
I bet.
And so she set out on this kind of journey, and she like wrote this book called Fair Play, and then it turned it into a documentary called Fair Play. And it's all of the invisible emotional labor that women do, and invisible labor, and how much that would cost if you actually paid someone to do it. She kind of breaks that down as well. And so in my relationship, it's been, you know, we've continued to kind of like explore that. And luckily I have a partner who's willing to, who is, also is a minority. So he has had his own experience of, you know, what that looks like when shit ain't equal, right?
Yeah.
So we, me being a woman, him being, a minority in his situation, like it's helped us see things in each other's circumstance and situation in day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
And so even after having a kid, like, what are our jobs? Like, what are our things? Like, we both have to work. So how do we do that? How do we take care of the kid while each other is working? How do we, who's doing what tasks? And there was like this learning curve a bit of like, where I was like, I would go to the like diaper station and the wet wipes were out. And then I would go to get more wet wipes and then realize the diapers were out. And then I would go to the thing and then the trash was falling over. And like, I couldn't get any one thing done because there was and then I would go to get a bottle and the bottles were all like dirty, like it was just like, it was like this, and it was like, with this is the thing that people are always like, it's so much. It's like, it's not so much. It's just all these little
things add up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and I explained this to him, and he was like, I experience the same thing. I go and the thing's empty. I go and the thing's empty. I go and I was like, okay, so like, how do we both try to do that better? And then on top of that, there's like this one time, like I was cooking the food and doing the dishwasher and I came out and he was just like chilling. And the whole living room's just like fucking toys. And it's like, there's a certain amount of that you just have to give up. Like you have to like, if you're someone who's like a little bit OCD about like, everything goes in its place and is like, that's a type of OCD. It's not a blanket OCD, but like I have other OCDs like rumination that are really lovely that I don't need to get into. But like, if you don't get ahead of it though with a kid, then everything gets out of control really quick. So you have to do like little bits here and there. Yeah. And he's just like chilling on the chair. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, just taking a break. I'm like, there is no break anymore.
Oh my gosh.
There's no fucking break anymore.
Yeah.
And I think he was like, you're insane. And I'm like, you're insane. So I've tried to like back off a bit, but also I think he realized that like, oh shit. Yeah. Like even when the baby's not in need of immediate attention, there's things that need to be tended to.
Definitely.
If you don't have a house cleaner and you don't have a nanny and you don't have a child, caretaker, like we're doing it ourselves. So there's all those things have to be done. But so it continues to be a conversation that we do. But yeah, usher in the matriarchy. Let's go.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
There's also something else going on right now that there's been several articles recently being published about, is that women are surpassing men in education and home ownership in all these different ways. And men are being left behind. There's this phase that men are the loneliness epidemic for men, and they're being left behind. But this is set on the precedent that women had a disadvantage to these things, and they have been able to overcome it.
Definitely.
So these men are not being left behind. They are staying behind.
Yeah.
And it's telling, and I'm not saying that we don't need to consider and try to figure out how to help, but at the same time, it is telling that an oppressed class has been able to rise up.
Yeah, definitely.
And it leaves little empathy sometimes
for sure
when you have been oppressed.
Yeah.
And you have overcome.
Definitely.
To then look back and be like, you had everything.
Yeah. It was all there at your fingertips this whole time.
And this is a system that was made by you for you, not you, but your daddy and your granddaddy made the system for you, by them, for you to succeed. And you're not. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But that's hard. Why I think any equality is rough for whoever the ruling class is. Now, someone might look and be like, I'm a white man. I'm not rich. I don't have any privilege. And this is the conversation, right? It's like, it's not that you are then automatically afforded luxury. But what it is it's a luxury not to have that other experience where things are actively working against you.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
And poverty is something that actively works against people. But we do find that if you're impoverished and of a minority, there is a second set of circumstances to keep you down.
Yeah.
So, I think it's an interesting time for men. And I think it's an interesting time for women and everybody else in between. But, but I'm interested to see what happens. It feels like we're at a precipice.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like we're in the middle of a revolution that's just taking a really long time. And I think every revolution probably has.
Yeah.
It's like it starts and it amps up and comes down, amps up. And unfortunately, revolutions are not typically peaceful.
Yeah.
So
change is hard. Change shakes everything up.
It really is. And revolutions are not usually peaceful. And, you know, in the past, violence looked a certain way. But in the present, to me, what violence looks like is Roe v. Wade being overturned, women not having access to their reproductive health and freedoms. You know, copious amounts of like little legislation and policies to kind of keep women down, right? Even like not the maternal leave, but like, and not the food for the babies and not the things.
Not even like, tampons in the bathroom.
Thank you for bringing this up because yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like deep diving because I'm like a bargain person. Like I get a little high off of getting like the lowest deal on something. And tampons for me are like, I don't like the plastic. This is getting really, I don't like the plastic applicator. I like the cardboard. I know that's super old school, but it makes me feel good, a little better about the environment. And that's just what I'm used to. And I'm like, but they're like less and less of them. Those types are being made, but they are typically cheaper. And then also like, I'm looking at all these things and then I'm starting to get fucking enraged. Right.
Yeah.
Because first of all, like everything's so expensive nowadays, right? Like everything, I could really get into that because I'm really into like, this is a 50-year problem of the wages not rising for inflation. And there's no way to get out of this.
Huge issue.
There's no way to get out of this without something drastic like universal basic income, because there's no amount of pressure you can put on companies to raise the minimum wage that won't bankrupt them because this is a 50-year problem.
It's
right. So it's a problem bigger than what the typical fixes are going to be able to fix. Nonetheless, everything's gotten so expensive. Wages are stagnated. And I'm looking at the price of tampons and I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Like these boxes used to be $5, maybe $7. They're now $16. They're now $20.
Yeah.
And name one thing that a man has to buy every month that isn't covered by his insurance.
Yeah.
That is a medical product. Like tampons are technically a medical product.
You can't live without tampons.
Like you want us to free bleed everywhere? No. Like, so why are women, and this is like also gets into the what's called the pink tax, which is taxing or, you know, marking up items of that women use and buy more than men. It's called a pink tax.
Okay.
And so the fact that tampons are something that every woman or pads or whatever their chosen thing are going to be is a cost to women every month that men don't have to afford a cost to. So that is an inequality.
Yeah.
That is, you know, that's unequal.
Yeah. And I mean, you have toilet paper for free in the bathroom. You don't have to bring your own
paper
toilet
towels
paper
or an air dryer or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Why is it crazy to have tampons for free?
Yeah. And everyone would say because everyone would steal them. And why is that? Because people can't afford fucking tampons.
Yeah.
So if it was in an abundance where no one had to buy their own
like
fucking
toilet
tampons,
paper. You're never stealing the toilet paper.
I mean, I did steal some toilet paper from time to time. Just because, again, I'm like, they won't miss it.
That's pretty funny.
But overall,
generally,
you know, like, and this is the thing, like, too, like, again, if the way to make something not care to be stolen is to make it in abundance, right? So if everyone got free tampons, you could go to your nearest wherever you go. Let's say you could go to your health insurance provider and get them for free. Or let's say for people who didn't have health insurance or were underinsured, they could go to, let's say the post office. It's just for shits and giggles. Like every post office, every government facility, you could just go and pick up as many fucking tampons as you need. Well, how many boxes are you going to buy before you're like, I think I'm good?
Yeah, that's true.
How many are you going to grab before you're like, okay, I'm good. And then I'll be back in 6 months.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to sell them because there's no buying price because everyone can get them for free.
Yeah.
There's no like, and this is like, this could be so many things.
Yeah.
This could be insulin. This could be toilet paper.
It's true.
This could be just toilet paper in general, right?
Yeah.
This could be tampons. This could be basic necessities for everyone could be like this.
Definitely.
And if you're like, hey, I don't like those government ass fucking tampons. They're dry. They make my pussy itch, whatever. Then go buy some that are better.
Totally.
But it would take all of that industry out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It would take a few industries out. Or would it? Would the government then pay to have those industries provide those things?
I mean, with how high taxes are.
Right.
Where is that money going? You can spare some for some tampons, you know.
Yeah.
You would think, you know, but then you look at companies like Germany, free healthcare.
Yeah.
And here, you know, an ambulance ride alone is like how much?
I don't
Something 20,000, 50,000, and you don't get a say if you get put in because you're passed out. Like, what?
Yes.
and even if you did get a say, what's your other option? Die?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's a fucked system.
Yes.
And we're all fucked, not just women at this point.
Yes.
It's all of us.
Yes.
So,
and that is what happens with capitalism. It eats itself eventually. It's like a cancer.
Yeah.
A cancer will kill its host to continue to thrive, right?
It's
like
so true.
it will kill itself to thrive. And that is what capitalism, especially late stage unregulated capitalism, is that it will keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this until there's no people left for it to do it to. You know, there's already a declining birth rate because people can't afford to have kids. They don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And that now there's no, then fast forward to that, there's no working class.
Yeah.
So the people who are depending on a working class for their product to be continue to every year make more and more money, that's capitalism, right? Every year shareholders have to increase their value. And if they don't, in America, they can sue because their company didn't make them money.
Yeah.
In the stocks, the shareholders, right? So that's a part of this system that is not working.
Yeah.
And it's got to change eventually or it'll eat itself.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the for-profit medical industry is something that needs to change. I think we're one of the only like rich developed nations that doesn't have universal health care.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah.
So wild. Like, and it's not even that we don't have free healthcare. It's that it's insanely expensive. Like, as a circus artist, I think about this all the time.
They've made it expensive, but it's not. It doesn't have to be.
It does not have to be.
Because
the pharmaceutical company, the amount of money they're making on drugs that half of them, it's like, do we even actually need these?
Well, it's hard to say because there's a lot of drugs that are for lots of different things.
Yeah.
But besides that, even, you know, the ability to have access to those things, right? So that it doesn't cost so much money that you have access to it.
Yeah.
That if they come out with a cancer drug or a vaccine that you don't have to not have access to it, or you can't afford it, or you're underinsured, or your insurance kicks you off, or all those types of things. But I think people are starting to awaken to the idea that everyone says there's no money for universal healthcare. Like, where's that money going to come from, right? That's the first thing everybody says. Well, where's that money going to come from? Well, we don't have a problem funding our defense.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem creating tax cuts for the rich.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we taxed one billionaire correctly, if we tax one billionaire like we get taxed, that's our healthcare.
Yeah.
If we tax another billionaire what we get taxed as performers, that's no one's hungry.
Yeah.
If we tax one more billionaire, everyone's got fucking maternity leave. Tax one, we got at least 8.
It's crazy.
We got at least 8 billionaires in America.
Yeah.
It's probably more.
Yeah. There's definitely
They can't
more.
spend that money in a lifetime.
Yeah.
They have made that money off the backs of exploitation.
Yeah. Yeah. I was telling someone the other day, I genuinely, at least in America, I do not believe you can get rich in this country without breaking rules. Like, I believe every person who has made good money has done something illegal.
Something shady.
Yeah. 100%. Like,
I mean, you know, I think you point out something that is increasing in sentiment, which is that there is no American dream anymore and the upper trajectory has been lost, right? Yeah. That America used to stand for, you know, the possibility of upward mobility, that you could have a better life than your parents, meaning you could afford more things. You could afford a better, more comfortable life than your parents. And what we're finding now statistically even is that that is not possible anymore.
It's not.
That ended with the boomer generation, maybe some of the older X's, but that is ended. And that there is no way to get that upward trajectory because of the way the tax class is set, because these people at the top are able to keep enriching themselves and the bottom half are not able to dig themselves out of the hole.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that almost half of Americans cannot afford a $400 emergency.
Crazy. Wild.
That should not be an issue, right? Like that should be, that should, in the richest, one of the richest countries, right?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be an issue.
No. It's crazy.
The fact that, you know, medical debt could still bankrupt someone or cause them significant distress.
Definitely.
That they might not want to go to the doctor because they're afraid of what it might cost, or, you know, that they might get turned down, or they can't get this, or they can't get access to this, you know. There has been some good changes to to healthcare. Like Obama was able to get some things done. Like a lot of the protections that we have now where they can't drop you when you're sick. That's from Obamacare or the ACA. Like the fact that you have a max out of pocket yearly, like you don't spend over that if you're insured. Like that's another thing that's been really great, because back in the day, that was not that. Now, if you don't have insurance, that's a whole other thing. I think I started the industry like around 2002, 2003. Okay. And my best year I had was 2007. Okay. Like I was like, this is a great year. I'm making good money for a performer,
Yeah.
And I was feeling really good about everything. And then 2008, I just remember it being February and being like, why is everything so quiet? Like nothing's happening. This is very weird. Right. And mind you, I came in right after 9/11 ish,
Okay. Wow.
And like, but things were like weird, but like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, so 2008, it was like, what's happening? It felt kind of like a little bit like that without the big impetus of like something happening.
Yeah.
So, and I was feeling it and people around me was feeling it, and it got really scary. And then it wasn't until almost a year later that everybody started losing their houses. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, like you had mentioned, entertainment feels this stuff first. We're the first place that places can kind of cut corners. We're like the canaries in the coal mine, strippers, canaries in the coal mine, right? When people stop coming in to spend money, they're like, okay, the jig is up, like something's going down. And so I'm feeling that again now. And it's felt hit and miss since the pandemic. Like it's felt that way to me that, especially TV and film industry has been very recessive since like 2020 because of the pandemic. And then it kind of came back, and then, there kept being outbreaks, and then only projects that had a lot of money could thrive because they were still doing COVID protocols.
Yeah.
So a lot of other projects weren't able to survive or thrive or even be created. Yeah. And then the double strike back to back with the writer's strike and then the actor's strike. Yeah. So that stalled everything. And that's not just actors and writers and dancers and stunt people. That's everybody is not working when there's a hold and a strike like that, right?
Definitely.
So nothing but post could happen. Anything that was already in the can. And so now, things are like slogging back. And I feel like, it's recession time across the board. So, everything is a cycle. Yeah. I'm sure we'll come out of it. I'm hoping it's going to be quickly, or, that things will be enacted to help with that fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But it could be a rough one. So now is the time to just kind of like keep your head above water. Yeah. Keep your head above water and just like survive.
It's true. It's unfortunate, but that's where we're heading. Like, I don't think there's any way around it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've told people a lot, like the last year or so, America has felt like a drunk that like needs to hit a rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like just out of control, can't figure it out. There's nothing I can do to fix it. And I just have to watch them fucking
that's it.
Have a hit rock bottom.
Yeah. That's
and then hopefully recover.
Yeah. Hopefully. It's like was it the Grecian Empire?
Girl, I don't know, but enlighten me.
I want to say it was Greek culture, but they were having orgies, money, wealth, flowing,
full hedonistic lifestyle,
and they just plummeted and crashed. And I feel like we're very, very much so following that trajectory.
Yeah.
We had our peak, and now we're.
Yeah.
But, it's like you said, all we can do is kind of keep us as performers, we see it happening because we're always the first to get cut.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, just got to survive through this, figure out a game plan. Cause I think you're right. Like give it, this year, like you see it happening for us, we can see it happening.
Next year, it will be everybody else.
Yes. Yeah. So
if they haven't already started to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they must have, but sometimes, Hollywood is a bubble.
Yeah.
And I forget that the rest of the world.
People like, it's one domino at a time almost instead of like all the dominoes falling. So it's like the jobs report came out, less jobs than people looking for jobs.
Yes.
That's not a good sign, right? So then if people can't get work or people keep getting let go from companies, companies are downsizing, that has, an effect.
Yeah.
On everything. And it slowly, people who were like able to pay all their bills now can't, or have to start making really tough decisions.
Yeah.
And so, it's a ripple effect. So we'll see.
For sure. On that note. Oh my God.
Hopefully we can continue to take our clothes off and get paid. In well-lit environments.
Oh my gosh. Okay, a little bit heavy, but you know, informational, educational.
Being a woman
you
is
know,
heavy.
Being a woman is heavy, and if nothing else, if you haven't been hit by the recession yet, you heard it here first. It's coming for you.
Yeah, fucking get ready.
Get ready.
Buckle down.
Get ready. Literally. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Happy
this
to.
was
Thanks for
a really awesome episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And we'll see the rest of you in 2 weeks for another episode. Bye. Oh my